I'm Mishka and welcome back to my channel. In today's episode of Our Life Beginnings and Always, we are going to be doing moment 9, sorry about that, of step 1. This is the second to last moment, so in the next episode we are going to be officially ending step 1. maybe not the next episode because it will be the sleepover moment, but the episode after that, possibly. So, we are starting to close up step 1. Can you guys believe it? I can't, to be honest. This has been so fun so far, recording this series and everything, but before we get started, make sure to hit the subscribe button and share this video with your friends so that they can find out my amazing channel just like you have right now. So, yeah, let's get into it and I hope you enjoy. Runaway. It was early and you were on the way to your you were on your way to the playground. I'm already messing up everything. Lizzie planned on joining you there later. You weren't sure what she was busy with right now. Older kid stuff you imagined. That was okay. What was forefront in your mind was if Cove might be free to come too. Cove, what are you doing? As you walked the familiar street, wondering how you might find your neighbor, he appeared right in front of you, almost as if he was a mind reader. Hi, Cove. Can you come to the playground with me today?
No.
No, sorry. Cove looked strangely serious. It had to be an even bigger deal than whatever mystery thing Lizzie had to do. I'm leaving, Mina. What do you mean you're leaving? What? Where? He shifted and your gaze was drawn to the backpack slung over his shoulders. Cove liked to stuff things into his pockets from what you've seen, but sometimes, I'm sorry. But people sometimes carried bags with them. It hadn't been very attention worthy until now. The pack was decorated with cartoon waves and dolphins. He gripped one of the strips tightly with his good hand. I just wanted you to know. Cove didn't glance up and meet your eyes. You started to grow worried. Oh, can I go too? He looked up at that. You hoped he would agree, but instead he shook his head. Excuse me? I'll come back though sometime. I don't know when, but we can do stuff then. He directed a fragile smile your way. Without another word, Cove turned on his heel and started to walk away. Wait! He kept going. His focus wasn't on you anymore. What was that about? You watched as his back grew smaller and smaller, and then you realized that you were still standing in the middle of the sidewalk. You thought about your earlier plan of playing in the park. Suddenly it didn't seem as fun anymore, not without Cove. But it wasn't like you could force him to play with you. He had things to do. No, girl, you're going after him. You stay there. You could play at the park some other time. It wasn't like it was going anywhere, and you couldn't bring yourself to leave like this. You didn't move from your spot. You just continued to look on quietly. It didn't take long to realize that he was just going up the street. You were positive there was nothing good over there. Not the park or the beach or the store, Cher's house or anything. He was new. He might not know what you did. He jogged down the street to catch up to him. He slowed down once you reached his side. He glanced at you from the corner of his eye and frowned. Go away, Mina. No, Cove. I just wanted to say you're going the wrong way. There aren't many places the way you're going. His mouth twisted further. He didn't appreciate your warning. I'm still going. Why? What are you doing? Walking. Why can't I come with you if you're just walking? Cove let out a deep sigh. You got the feeling that he was starting to get mad at you. I told you, I'm leaving. I'm gonna be gone for a while. No, I still want to go with you. You can't. Why not? Cove came to a sudden stop. You almost kept walking ahead of him because you weren't expecting it. My dad doesn't know. If you come, you'll get in trouble when he finds out. You felt a knot start to You felt a knot start to grow in your stomach. You're not supposed to be leaving. His expression was grave. He shook his head. Dad isn't home right now. I left him a letter so he won't get confused when he gets back. But you can't tell anyone about this, okay? You can pretend you never saw me. I still want to go. I don't care if I get in trouble. Don't do it all by yourself. Cope's hard expression wavered. You could tell that he hadn't expected you to say that.
Really?
Really? You don't think it's a bad idea or anything? Sure? I don't know. An adventure. His lips curved into a smile.
Okay.
Okay, you can come. You grinned, pleased that he gave in so easily. You thought it might take longer since he was so set on going alone. You turned a bit in the middle of the sidewalk and so did Cope when you saw. You pointed your shoulder over your... Oh geez, you pointed over your shoulder with a thumb. Let's go to my house first. I can get my backpack. We can't, sorry. If we're gonna be away, I better take some stuff. It's not that. I don't want our parents to catch us. Your moms could think it's weird we have bags. They might ask. We don't have a lot of time anyway. He motioned to his backpack, patting it with his hand. Its front bulged out slightly. Don't worry. I packed snacks. It'll be alright. You were taken aback. There was going to be food to eat. He thought of everything. Cool, then let's get going. Cope smiled. He seemed to be in much better spirits than when you first ran into him. You were glad. He wasn't always this upbeat. That was fine though, otherwise he wouldn't be Cope. But you liked seeing him smile. Take a picture of that. Cope took the first step and you mirrored him. As one, both of you ran up the street. You were off to places unknown. You ran through the first few neighborhoods like that, your feet pounding on concrete. Whenever one of you got tired, you'd take a break for a minute. The moment there was a sound, you'd be off again, in case someone you knew might realize what you were up to. Because of how cautious you were, the two of you didn't run into anyone, not even other kids enjoying their summer. It was like you were spies or superheroes with secret identities to protect, on the run from bad guys. As exciting as it was, you were still glad when you got the opportunity to take a proper break. Cope waited for you to stop once you got out of the residential district. The houses disappeared, broad storefronts taking their place. You were all on the way. Oh jeez, you were all the way in the business part of town. Okay, let's go back home now, please. Please, I don't want to go any further. That was the first time you had come here on foot. Before, one of your moms had always drove you to this place in their car. Cope leaned up against a nearby tree and wiped sweat off his forehead. You braced your hands on your knees, breathing hard. You looked over at the road ahead. Where so far? A strange expression flickered across Cope's face at your words before he nodded. You spoke again, still huffing. My mom's bring me and Lizzie here for shopping. Yeah, I've never been here before, not without Dad. He looked pleased by that. Oh god, we're doing good. It's not even nighttime. No, you were starting to get nervous. You were having fun spending time with Cope, but being so far from your neighborhood made you feel weird. Clearly, Cope wanted to keep going. For how long, though? He couldn't want to keep walking forever. Cope slid his backpack off and unzipped it. You watched curiously as he stepped a hand in and searched for something. To your delight, he pulled out 2 juice boxes and offered one to you. Here. Thank you, I was getting thirsty. The two of you took a moment to unwrap the straws and poke them into the special circle part of the box. The juice was warm but still good. You sighed contentedly after your first sip. Your throat was beginning to ache from how dry it had gotten. It really had been a while since this all started. As you took another sip of your juice, your gaze drifted to Cope's bag. He hadn't closed it yet. What else is in there? There's still a few juice boxes left. Oh god. Boxes left. He peered inside and began to list off the items as he spotted them. I got some snacks from the kitchen too. Chips, muffins, banana, candy. That was already a lot, but he kept excavating more. I also took a couple of clothes, a flashlight, a first aid kit from my dad's bathroom, and a blanket. Oh, and some money my dad gave me a while ago that I haven't spent yet. Your mouth made a small O halfway through his lengthy list. You brought a lot of stuff. I wouldn't have thought to grab a flashlight or first aid kit. I told you I was going away. You didn't know what to say to that. The little smile Cope had been wearing earlier was gone by now, like it'd never been there in the first place. You watched as he zipped up his backpack and slipped it on. He started walking without a single glance over at you, though he still took small unhappy sips of his juice. Oh, get over it, Cove. For some time, the two of you went forward in complete silence. The more ground you covered, the more serious Cove seemed to become. He hadn't looked at you or said anything in a while. He'd just taken your empty juice box from you and stowed it away in his bag. That was it. You knew there had to be more to all this. For him, it wasn't a fun adventure. It never was. The sun dislodged itself from its place in the sky, dipping lower and lower. The street lamps came on. It was as if they were anticipating nightfall. Convinced him to go back. Hey, Cove. Cove finally turned to you. You gave him your best attempt at a warm smile. It's gonna be dark soon. We should head back. To your dismay, he scowled and shook his head immediately. I'm not going back. I can't. But what about your dad? He'll be fine. I left him a letter. If you want to leave, you can. I'm gonna keep going. There was no change in his mind, you realized. He was doing this with or without you. No, we're still going to, because it's not good to be on your own. Ooh. You wanted to go home, but not without Cove. Leaving him all alone would be much worse. Yeah. Okay, I'm coming with you. His features softened the slightest bit at your response. You got the feeling he was relieved by your decision to stay. The two of you continued to trudge past the storefront. Silence fell over you again. You had no idea how to break it, or if you even wanted to. People had said this was a really tiny town, but to you it felt absolutely gigantic. Oh my god. Eventually the business part of town ended too. There was no sidewalk anymore. Only a long expanse of road. You walked on the grass instead. Not even that was enough to stop him. Onward was your only option. Your journey stubbornly continued. The hunch you had about Cove's possible destination soon became a certainty. There was only one way out of town after all. Your feet hurt, you were tired, the two of you didn't have any parents with you, but somehow you had made it. You had reached the very edge of Sunset Bird. That's what the sign told you. You had lived in Sunset Bird forever, and it was a very, very rare occasion that you'd see the sign. Most everything in your life happened inside the city limits. The endless road ahead seemed scary in a way. It paralyzed you. You glanced at Cove. You had made it here just before nightfall, but now what? Outside of town, there was nothing. How would he get to where he wanted to go? Cove, however, didn't falter. He kept walking. As he neared the sign, he finally stopped. That was a relief. He took off his backpack and sat down, crossing his legs beneath him. You lowered yourself beside the boy as he zipped his bag open and rummaged through it again. Wow. What snack do you want? You were almost taken aback by his voice. It had been a while since you last heard it. Pursing your lips, you recalled the snacks that he listed off earlier. Let's have some candy. Freddy choose a chocolate. Oh my god, chocolate. He pulled out He pulled out a bar of chocolate for you and a muffin for him. After passing you your food, he took a big bite out of the top of his muffin. You peered over at your friend. He stared at the path still ahead with a solemn expression. You turned away. The sun had set some time after both of you finished eating. Now it was dark, apart from the faint moonlight. You watched as Cove grabbed the flashlight from his bag. What are we gonna do? Sleep out here?
I guess.
He was speaking defensively again. Cove flicked the flashlight on. A beam of light cut through the darkness, weakly illuminating the area you sat in. You pulled your knees up to your chest, wrapping your arms around them. You weren't cold. Summer nights were still sort of warm. You just felt like it. Is it okay if I ask something? Cove's focus didn't waver from the road, but he nodded. Why do you want to leave Sunset Bird so bad? At first, Cove was quiet. You started to think he wouldn't say anything. Then he spoke. My mom called today to check up on me and stuff. She asked what Sunset Bird was like and how I was doing. It was okay. But when I asked if she'll come here, Mom said she couldn't. I can't go back either. Not right now. She has to move somewhere else first. Cove glared at the ground. His voice cracked as he continued.
It's not fair.
Why can't I even see her anymore? He used his uncast arm to rub both of his eyes. I'm gonna go myself. I don't need anyone to take me. Excuse me? No. I'm done. Let's just have a fit. Cope's eyebrows shot up as though he hadn't expected you to have this kind of reaction to what was happening. What's wrong? You didn't give him any answer. When the surprise wore off, he tried more softly to coax a reply out of you. Are you okay? No, you shouldn't do stuff like this. His lips clamped together and he awkwardly held his hands up in front of him, as though he wanted to do something but wasn't sure what. I'm sorry. Then he shook his head like he was trying to clear it. When he spoke some more, it was mostly to himself. If I don't go see Mom, then she's... Fresh tears glistened in Cove's red-rimmed eyes. He stubbornly tried to blink them away, but they slipped down his cheeks. Your heart twisted in your chest. No matter what, you hated seeing him cry. What'll happen? Mom doesn't call that much, and I haven't seen her in so long. Cove hiccuped, wiping his face with the back of his arm. His glasses got shoved up awkwardly as a result. If I don't go, she'll be gone. She'll forget about me. She wouldn't do that. How do you know? Because nobody could ever get you, Cove! His cheeks beaten. Flustered, he broke eye contact and looked down. Cove sniffled. He seemed conflicted. I'm not sure if that's right. You were at a standstill. Oh god. Everything will be okay if we just go home. Please, please, Cove. Cove's brows furrowed, a scowl appearing on his lips. Nothing's gonna be okay. He turned away from you, stared at his back. You couldn't just stop. Please, Cove. After a few minutes of sullen silence, Cove twisted back around. He wouldn't look you in the eye. Okay, let's go. I don't want you to get in trouble. I don't want something bad to happen. He was doing it for you. They gave you a warm feeling inside, even if you wish he didn't want to leave in the first place. And that was that. Together you walked away from the exit sign. Woo, okay, oh my god, we're bringing him home. Oh god, okay, that's good. Your feet hurt a lot by this point and you were so tired, but you'd convinced him. You were bringing Cove home, and that's what mattered. On the long walk back, it was only thanks to the occasional street lamp and faint moonlight that you could see in the dark night. You were content to sit close together. Sometimes your drowsy walking caused one of you to almost bump into the other. The back of your hand brushed his. Hold on to his hand. You reached out for his hand. It slipped into yours easily. His palm was warm. Cove glanced at you looking surprised. Then he smiled. His fingers curled around the back of your hand. The two of you continued down the street hand in hand. You weren't sure how much time passed. All you knew was that one minute you were fighting the drooping of your eyelids while shuffling near Cove on the sidewalk, and the next you were snapped back to attention by the blaring beep of a horn. Cove froze. You looked around to see a car approaching you. It was difficult to make out who it was. The headlights were so blinding. Instead of continuing down the road, the car slowed near where you sat. The window rolled down, revealing the face behind the wheel. It was very familiar. Mom! Oh my gosh, finally! She shouted back, and not just because there was some distance between you and her. Where have you kids been? I've been looking everywhere for you. I was trying to help Cove. She stopped looking at you and instead staring hard straight ahead. Both of her hands were gripping the wheel. In turn, Cove gripped your hand tighter. This is hard to face. Guilt ate you up from the inside.
Alright.
Get in. Let's get you two home. That at least made her showing up worth it. Your feet were aching like crazy from all the walking you'd done today. You yanked open the side door, slipped inside the back seat, then clambered over so Cove had enough room to climb into. He followed him wordlessly, tucking his backpack near his feet. Your mom looked at you and Cove from the rear view mirror. The two of you had us extremely worried. That wasn't a good thing to do. Not at all. Shamefaced, you both nodded as one. Sorry, Mrs. Rose. Sorry, Mom. She softened immediately, not enough to actually let it go though. You'll have to apologize to everyone else too. With that, Mom started the car up again. You were off. For the rest of the car ride, no one said anything. You thought all you were pretty tired. In fact, you must have dozed off at some point because you woke up to the sound of the engine stopping. When you looked around to get a sense of your surroundings, you realized 𝐸𝐺 was leaning his head on you. He might have been asleep before this too. The moment your eyes met, he turned away. We're back. You yawned and got out of the car. 𝐸𝐺 came out after putting his backpack on again. Mom locked the door and motioned you two towards the house. She opened the front door and let you go in first. Mommy appeared quickly. She must have been waiting nearby. There was a phone in her hand. It worried you, thinking about who she might have been talking to. The tiny line of her shoulders relaxed when she saw you and 𝐸𝐺. Oh, thank goodness, you found both of them. Yes, I did. They were walking down the main street together. What were you two doing there at this time of night? Do you have any idea how far that is? How unsafe? You peeked at 𝐸𝐺. He still looked exhausted. His eyes were puffy and there were dry tear tracks stuck to his cheeks. I had to see my mom. Mina didn't want me to go alone. Your own mom shared a look. You weren't sure what it meant, but they always did that. You wondered if they could read each other's minds. Since they were communicating telepathically, you still glanced around the house. Lizzie wasn't anywhere in sight. Where was she? She must have finished whatever she was doing that morning ages ago. Where's Lizzie? Your sister's in her room, fast asleep, the same way you should have been. She went out earlier to look for the two of you when she accidentally found out you were both missing. She tried to pretend otherwise, but you made her sick with worry. Said she checked all the hiding places she could think of, but couldn't find either of you. You and 𝐸𝐺 exchanged remorseful glances at that. Mommy knows the discomfort.
Okay.
You two must be sleepy. You can sit down wherever you like. Mommy smiled warmly and motioned to the living room. 𝐸𝐺 looked up at her, then lumbered over. You followed close behind. The living room wasn't far, separated by a wall, so you heard your moms talking softly. He wanted to go see his mother. Poor thing. That explains it at least. Still, I'm not sure it excuses it. It was so dangerous to go off into town like that. He's having a hard time right now. You can't expect the child to be handled maturely. True, it can't be helped. But that's enough of that. We should tell 𝐸𝐺 and the others that he's here before the panic gets out of hand. There could be riots.
Is that alright?
I'll call, then go to the front to tell everyone's still out there. You keep an eye on the kids. Make sure they don't take any more trips today. Got it, hon. 𝐸𝐺 just sat there on the couch, setting his backpack down beside him. He stared at his hands. I'm sorry, Mina. You faced him quietly. I didn't want to make you feel bad. I don't want to fight. And you won't do it again. I won't. Not for real. Okay, I don't want to fight either. Having him apologize did make you feel better. He looked relieved that the two of you were going to be able to get past this. Before you could say anything else, the front door opened. Your mom was back with Mr. Holden close behind her. He made a beeline for the couch, his gaze trained on his son.
𝐸𝐺?
𝐸𝐺, God, are you alright? Strands of his hair falling out of his ponytail. His eyes were darkened like he'd been crying too. 𝐸𝐺 stared up at his dad, his own wise eye behind the frames of his glasses. He really hadn't expected it to be such a big deal. I'm okay. Good, that's good. I'm so glad to hear that. He clapped a hand on his own... on his son's shoulder, attempting a smile, but the corners of his lips twisted and spamished, as if they wanted to wilt into a frown instead. 𝐸𝐺 seemed to have that effect on him. Mr. Holden turned to you, still smiling weakly. I'm so happy that you're alright too, Mina. Then he looked at your moms. Thanks for your help as always. He laughed pitifully.
I'm sorry.
And I'm very sorry for ruining your afternoon with this. I can't apologize enough.
It's okay.
It was no trouble, 𝐸𝐺, really. It couldn't be helped in a way. Something was bound to happen sometime. Besides, he wasn't the only one who decided it was a good idea to disappear today. Exactly, we're just happy the kids are safe and sound. Not for the first time that day, you recalled your original meeting with 𝐸𝐺. He had Runaway then too, not only as far as he had today. 𝐸𝐺 must have had a similar thought because he mumbled an apology. Sorry, Dad, I won't leave anymore, I promise. Some life seemed to return to Mr. Holden thanks to his promise. This time around, his smile was more genuine.
I'm so glad.
That's a relief to hear. Next time you feel like running off, come to me first, okay? We can talk about it. I'm here for you. Cove nodded. His dad reached out and amused his hair playfully. Although he made a face, Cove didn't try to dodge the hand as he usually did. Let's go home, bud. I bet you're as tired as I am. Mr. Holden took over carrying Cove's backpack, still clasping a free hand on his son's shoulder where he stood up from the couch. The five of you walked over to the front door so you could see them off. Mr. Holden thanked your moms profusely at least 3 more times before he walked out the door. Cove was made to follow. But he stopped and turned to you before stepping through the threshold.
Thanks.
Thanks, Mina. You're welcome, Cove. A tiny smile flitted across his lips, there and then gone. I'm glad you're okay. He began to sniffle again while looking at your face. I'm glad you're here. Aw, that's so sweet. And with that, Cove left. Mommy closed the door behind them. You were practically dead on your feet at that point. Your fatigue must have been obvious because your mom set you right to bed with no more discussion on what happened that day. Once your head hit the pillow, your eyes slipped closed on their own. Your eyelids were so heavy you couldn't open them again until the next morning. You woke up much more at ease than you had felt when you were last unconscious. It was almost like it was a dream. But it definitely wasn't. Your mom's faces when you saw them assured that. After breakfast, you were sat down, and your your family went over yesterday's events in full. They were none too pleased that you joined Cove despite knowing that he wanted to leave. As punishment, your moms took away your TV privileges for the next few days. Lizzie was annoyed that she couldn't watch her shows oh my god, I cannot speak! Lizzie was annoyed that she couldn't watch her shows with you around, but she adjusted. Whenever you expressed disappointment, your moms reminded that they weren't punishing you for no reason. It was dangerous to go out on your own some way, and without telling anyone. You could have gotten hurt or worse. As upset as you were, you understood. Mr. Holden talked to Cove about what happened too. You didn't know what was said exactly, but Mr. Holden forgave Cove immediately. He didn't do anything to punish Cove for running away. He blamed no one but himself for Cove's desire to leave home. You caught your moms discussing it once in hushed tones, frowning at each other. It was pretty serious. There was a word used you hadn't heard before. Self-flagellation. But there wasn't anything they could do to change Mr. Holden's mind. Your neighbors stopped you and Cove often for the next week or so to express their concerns and disapproval of the event. Still, as they always did, days continued to pass and so did talk about Cove running away. Things eventually returned to normal as they had to. Summer kept going and you kept having experiences you shared with Cove. And that is it for this episode, everyone. Okay, geez. I'm tired of talking and that was a crazy episode. But anyway, hopefully you enjoyed. But lastly, yours gentlemen, thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye!